I study insects, and if you're into big insects like I am, this is about as good as it gets in the Netherlands, or in Europe for that matter. This is a dragonfly. Its wingspan is 10 centimeters, and they live for a couple of weeks as adults. More interestingly is the larval stage. They live for a couple of years underwater, and that's where they do most of the growing. Now, things were quite different if you lived in the Carboniferous 300 million years ago. Then you could actually encounter insects which grew up to this size. So I'm really intrigued by this question: what drove these giant insects to become so large? Now, since I only have 3 minutes, I'm just going to say the answer right away. It's about water and oxygen. To start with oxygen, in the Carboniferous, oxygen levels are thought to be almost double to what they are now. And most people don't realize this, but oxygen is actually toxic. If you breathe in pure oxygen, you die within days. And even with today's levels, which are much more moderate, oxygen contributes to the wear and tear that we all experience as aging. So you want to breathe in enough oxygen, but you don't want to overdo it and become poisoned. Now, to protect yourself from too much oxygen, what you can do is live underwater, because oxygen is less available underwater. To further protect yourself, you can grow bigger, because that reduces your surface area to volume ratio. The same principle, for example, explains why we as adults can better retain our body heat than small babies. Now, for the aquatic insects, having a proportionally smaller surface area is especially relevant, because the oxygen can diffuse through their skin. They breathe through their skin. So growing larger and living underwater is exactly what these giant insects have done to protect themselves from too much oxygen. Now consider the opposite problem. While having a large body size protects you from having too much oxygen, it also puts you at risk for not having enough oxygen. Currently, aquatic insects face this opposite threat. Global warming increases the water temperature, and as a result, less oxygen dissolves, while actually the animals require more oxygen. I'm studying how oxygen requirements of aquatic species and their body size can help predict the vulnerability of aquatic insects to climate warming. And perhaps not surprisingly, we see that especially the larger insects are more vulnerable to these effects. So those of you who are not into big insects, I can reassure you, these giant insects are not likely to return in the near future, say about the next million of years. Thank you.